Well, first of all, I would just want to say thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. It's a privilege. It's a delight to speak to you all this Sunday afternoon, because as a medical doctor, my mission is to help people achieve a higher level of health. Now, healthcare in Mississippi right now is at a low. Okay. And it's at a low compared to the rest of our country. I actually participated yesterday in a Zoom that will conclude tomorrow in our clinic, where I'm talking with a reporter from the New York Times. I was referred to him by the Mississippi State Department of Health as a result of the New York Times taking an interest in healthcare in Mississippi, looking for answers and also possible solutions as to how we can attain a higher level of health. And when they contacted the health department, they said, well, he told me, they said, call Dr. Quinn. He's got some talking points for you. And we had a very good conversation yesterday. But one part of the conversation that I really want to share today is we have to get on the offense. And you might be a little puzzled right now. What do you mean the offense? What does it have to do with healthcare? You know, are you talking about healthcare or a football game? Well, the deal is, in life, we can look at it from many different perspectives. But one way to look at it is you're either on the offense or the defense. And taking that even to more specifics, I'm talking about healthcare. So let's give an example of somebody on the defense of healthcare, okay? This might be 61-year-old African-American male named John Doe, okay? He's out in the yard with his kids and his grandkids now. And, you know, they're having a barbecue. It's a great time. And he clutches his heart. And he feels weak. He's perspiring. Heart beating very fast. It's starting to hurt. He can't breathe. The ambulance comes. They take him to the hospital. And they alert the family 2 hours later that he suffered a massive heart attack. And they're gonna, you know, put him on a medication regimen. He's gonna be in the hospital a while. He's gonna get all this treatment. And we go into prayer. He's on the defense. We're hoping he can live. We're hoping he can come out of that hospital whole, or at least somewhat what he was before he went in the hospital. That's the defense. Now let's talk about the same man. When I was in medical school, I did some research, and this research was on, are we on the offense or the defense? And I interviewed a lot of patients in the hospital where I worked in Los Angeles. And it was basically a survey research project where you ask questions and they, you know, bubble in the circle and whatnot. And overwhelmingly, the majority of patients that were in the hospital for scenarios such as John Doe, when they were asked questions like, do you exercise at least 3 days a week? The answer was no. Do you consider yourself a person that eats healthy? The answer was no. Do you get a physical exam every year? In a lot of cases, the answer was no. So overwhelmingly, my report concluded, and it's very consistent with a lot of reports by bigger institutions than Tim Quinn, the resident. The majority of Americans and we Mississippians don't live on the offense, because the offense is taking action for your health care before you have a heart attack or a stroke. That's the offense. And I pray that God will help me to really give a compelling argument of why we want to get on that offense. But before we go into the specifics, I want to tell you a story about a patient that really, really made an impression on me. Big impression. She really helped me to just get a better grasp of, you know, how powerful your actions can really be. Okay. And just to protect her privacy, we're gonna call her Jane Doe. All right. So Jane Doe had been my patient for a number of years. When she showed up for her appointments, because she wasn't the most reliable patient, but when she did come, she had a lot of comorbidities, a lot of medical problems. Okay. One of her problems was diabetes. Very, very, very poorly controlled. Okay. Her hemoglobin A1C was always greater than 10, sometimes wouldn't even register. Her blood glucose was very high. She was on 2 forms of insulin and 3 oral pills for her diabetes, which weren't controlled, although she wasn't very compliant with her medicine. But when she did take it, she just was poorly controlled. She was on 4 blood pressure medicines. Okay, she was on a beta blocker, a combination angiotensin receptor blocker, fluid pill, and she was on a calcium channel blocker, just all this big terminology. But she was on a lot of medication. She was on a medication for cholesterol. I don't know if anybody takes the statins like your Lipitor and whatnot, but she was on that. She also was on medicine for her joints. She had really bad knee pain, medicine called meloxicam. I remember her whole medicine cabinet. She was also on medication for depression because she was depressed, clinically depressed. And she was a woman that was living with obesity. Her BMI was, I want to say around 40, but just to put it in layman's terminology, I think she wore a dress size of maybe probably about a 26, 28. And I'll later explain why I know the woman's dress size, because there's a little bit more to this story. So she would come for her appointments when she came, because she'd always miss, but she would come when she came, and we refill her medicine, and she'd say, Dr. Quinn, I'm going to take my medicine. She never made eye contact, though. She always looked down, and her clothing, it was never neat. You know, one day she had a sweater with a big hole, and a hole in it. She never really, took a lot of pride in her appearance, hair. I don't know, just wasn't together. Okay, but it's relevant. So one particular day, she came into the clinic, and when I walked in the room, she looked me in the eyes and she just smiled. And when she did that, I got a little scared. I felt like John Doe at the barbecue with the chest pain. Oh, wait, hold on. So I looked around. I didn't know, was she laughing at me or what? What's going on? I said, hey, what's going on? You're smiling. You got some beautiful teeth. And she said, Dr. Quinn, I have some news. So I was confused. I was like, this woman has news? Okay. Tell me about this news. What's going on? So she showed me her phone and she pulled up Facebook. And she showed me this man. He was a good looking man. I said, okay, he's a good looking guy. She said, okay, good looking man. Okay, tell me more. I'm ready. Let's go. So she basically told me that he was going through a divorce, and then she showed me the little caption under. He talked about how he's leaving his wife and all that, and I was like, well, it's a lot of information on Facebook, but okay, all right, he's getting a divorce. I said, well, I don't know why we're happy about it, but you're happy. I'm happy. I don't know the guy, so maybe his wife was terrible. I don't know, but she told me that this was the man that God had for her. She said, Dr. Quinn, I am finally gonna get my man. I said, okay. All right. I said, okay. We were still smiling. She's smiling. I'm smiling. We got the eye contact. So, I'm an opportunist. All right. I am. I am always looking for an opportunity in anything. So first thing I said was, well, let's talk about getting into a healthier weight. I said that'll that'll probably help, get into a healthier weight, because right before I said that, I left it out. I'm sorry. She told me that the high school reunion, I want to say it was a 20-year reunion. Yeah, 20-year reunion was in 10 months. Okay. So that's when I threw in, I said, let's work on that weight, because when you go to that reunion, girl, I said, you got to be fly. That's right. You got to be fly when you go to this reunion. I said, are you ready to get on this program we've been talking about for 2 years? She said, Dr. Quinn, I am ready. I was like, woo! Yes. All right. So the bottom line is, she was ready. I was ready. I called my nurses in. They were ready. All right. She had a whole team, and we started the journey. So basically what we did was we put her on the Q diet. Okay. And with this Q diet, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more detail after this story, because I got to tell you this story, because this is a great story. Basically, the Q diet, we would eat the small meals, the frequent meals every 3 hours, and she would keep a diary. Okay. And we're talking about the non-compliant patient, but I was very hopeful, and she did not let me down. She kept that diary where she would write down everything she ate, and she would email it to me. We'd follow up with a phone call every week, and then we'd have visits a little more frequently so we can meet in person. And then she participated in our walking program, which we had back in the day, and we're getting ready to restart. I just signed a contract with the North Park Mall. You all are invited, starting the first Saturday in June. So every Saturday in June, July, August, and for a whole year, because we already signed it, so they're going to charge us. You can come to the North Park Mall at 9 a.m. and we're going to have a walking program. We'll have coaches and people cheering you along. But long story short, she participated in the walking, but she would also walk during the week as well at the Parham Bridges Park. So she put that in the diary, and she was doing it. So the deal is, she did the diet, she did the exercise, she took her medicine finally, and over time she was losing weight. She was losing weight. I want to say she lost like 7 or 8 pounds the first month. Then she lost like 12 pounds the next month. She was losing weight very aggressively, very aggressively. So, what else was happening, which was very interesting? Every time she would come, her blood sugar or her glucose would be too low. So what I would have to do is I would have to peel back her insulin. I was like, your medicine is too strong. So we would peel her medicine back or decrease the dosage. And remember now, she was on 2 types of insulin when we started. I'm going to put that finger down because I don't want to leave the other finger up. So we got down to 1 insulin, the long acting. We cut that out as well over time, because remember, we had a 10-month journey. So we got rid of the insulin, and we got rid of, over the 10-month journey, we got rid of 2 of the diabetes pills, and she was only on 1 pill, metformin. And the reason I kept her on metformin is metformin is a diabetic pill that is really good to decrease your appetite. Okay. And I wanted her to continue the success. So I kept her on the metformin. Her hemoglobin A1C got all the way down to like 6.3. That's right. That's pre-diabetes level. So she was killing it. She beat that. In addition to that, she was on 4 blood pressure medicines. We got down to 1 blood pressure medicine over 10 months. She didn't need the medicine for her joints. Joints were better. I didn't say this, but she had elevated kidney enzymes. They were going back down to normal. Liver enzymes went down. She had something called fatty liver disease. That liver enzymes got better. I mean, not only that, the depression went away. That's right. She didn't need the Celexa anymore, nor did she need the Ambien for sleep. I left that out. I apologize. she was happy. She was optimistic. She was looking forward to something, and she was happy. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about the story. So we're getting close to the high school reunion, and the last visit before she was to go on this big journey, she came to the clinic. I walked in the room and I saw a different woman. She was a lot smaller in the size. I want to say she got down to like maybe a 16 dress size. So she went from 26 down to 16 or maybe 14, much lower. Okay. But on top of that, when I walked in, she did like this. I mean, her hair just flew back. I said, wow, look at you, girl. Man, I started dancing. She started dancing. My nurse, she just cutting up because I had this nurse, she's always hyping me up because they make fun of me because they know I'm old. She's like, go Quinn, go Quinn, go Quinn. And she was, yeah, and it was just a really festive little moment we had. And, she had on this nice dress. It was really pretty, kind of sparkly. And she had makeup on. I had never seen her with makeup. She even had the eye, the stuff on the eyelids, a different color. And I said, girl, I see them edges. She had them little edges. Man, you looking good. I said, ooh. I said, ooh, man, I'm glad. Ooh. Anyway, so she went to the reunion. And the next week, well, we couldn't wait. Well, she had a whole glam squad, me and my nurses. Anyway, she didn't call like she was supposed to. So, we called her, no answer. And I said, let's give it a day. I said, maybe they going to elope in Las Vegas or something. I don't know. Anyway, we finally got her on the phone and she just said she was going to just come in. So we told her, come on, And when she came in, she was so disappointed. And she told me and my nurses that she was just a big fat loser. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And she basically shared that she went to the reunion and, the guy, he wasn't paying her no attention. And then he, she just went ahead and just said, you know what, you and I, we should be together. I came for you. I know you went through a divorce, but I'm here for you. I'm ready. And he just made a big joke about it. He laughed and got some other people involved laughing, and she left. And I told her, I said, well, you know what? You just dodged the biggest bullet of your life, because getting involved with a jerk like that, nothing but failure for the future for you. But I'll tell you, what you are is a winner, not a loser. And I said, let's get the computer out. And I reminded her that she lost all that weight. But even more importantly, I showed her her health benefits. I showed her hemoglobin A1C, which is the test for diabetes, controlled below control for the first time on one pill. Blood pressure down, controlled, kidneys stable, probably avoided dialysis in a few years. Cholesterol down, avoided a heart attack or a stroke in a few years. Depression gone, and it better not come back. I told her, you're a winner because you're healthier. And the reason I tell that story is when we're on a journey to better health, in a lot of cases, people will want to engage in a healthier lifestyle with the objective of looking a certain way. Yeah, it's important, or it's valuable to that person to look a certain way, to be in a smaller dress size or whatever they covet as far as looking good. But as a doctor, I can tell you with a 100% certainty, if you could get to a healthier weight, okay, medically, you are going to benefit phenomenally. I mean, if you're someone with a genetic predisposition for a medical problem, and that basically means if you have a father or a grandfather or a blood relative that's had a stroke or a heart attack, then you have that genetic predisposition, meaning you have a higher chance of getting it than someone else. Diabetes, you have a higher chance of getting diabetes than someone else that doesn't have that blood relative. Hypertension, cancer, depression, all of these medical diagnoses that I've listed are impacted by your genetics. Okay, it's just like I wear these glasses. Okay, I'm on 4 eyes now. All right, it's, you know, I fought it for as long as I could, but then when I was driving and couldn't see, I was like, go on, get the glasses. But my mother and father wear glasses. My grandparents wear glasses on both sides. Where I'm going with it is genetics are real. Okay, but you, by the grace of God, have the ability to positively impact your health future. Just like my patient that went to that high school reunion, she started eating healthy every day. She started exercising, and she started taking her medication and following up for her appointments, even coming for the appointments in between the appointments so we can pump her up. Her kidney function went down, meaning she was somebody that was headed for dialysis. And dialysis is a bad state. You have to go 3 times a week, and usually dialysis leads to a premature death. Her liver enzymes were elevated, which can lead to liver failure. Her blood pressure and blood glucose were elevated, which could highly impact a person getting cardiovascular disease in the form of a heart attack or stroke. By her making those changes, she took those potentially fatal medical problems and made them very unlikely. Now note that we can make choices to be healthier, like me, okay? I work out. I worked out 2 hours today in the gym, and I'll work out tomorrow. I have a whole gym in my house, and I go to the gym. I have 2 gym memberships, but I'm a gym person. I love it. I'm a runner. When I was in medical school, they used to call me Forrest Gump because I was from Mississippi and I talk country. They're like, oh, Forrest Gump, he's going to run the class today. But I really, really try hard to be healthy because, well, a number of reasons. One reason, it clears my head. Like Saturday, I worked so hard. And when I got off work, I was just so wound up. My wife was like, just go run, baby. You know, she gave me my shoes and I went and ran 6 miles. And when I got home, I felt good. I was like, I'm ready to relax now. But exercise helps me just calm down and be cool. Don't have to take any type of Xanax or nothing like that. But also it helps me to become healthier. Eating healthy, I just feel better. Just feel better and a healthier weight. But what I want to add to this group more than any other group that I talk to, because I talk to a lot of groups, is that we have to remember one thing though. God is in charge. And what do I mean by that, right? So basically, I'm saying to be healthier, you know, it's all up to you. Go exercise, eat healthy and all that. But honestly, it's not all up to you. It's not all up to me. It's up to God. All we can do is help God, help us, help ourselves. And what I mean by that is, I was running one night. Shouldn't have been running that night like a big dummy. And it was raining. Forrest Gump never let you down. And a car was coming around a curve and hit the water and slid and almost hit me. If I would have been hit by that car on that particular night, it could have killed me. And on my deathbed, it would be known that I was out there running, trying to be healthy and whatnot, and got hit by a car. And on that night, I realized I'm not in full control. God's in control because God said, don't hit that clown. Let that clown keep running because I need him to fuss at all those patients and try to encourage them to be healthy. So he spared me. So I just want to add that we're not in full control because circumstances can happen. I mean, you could be at the gym working out and the weight could break and fall on your skull and crush your skull. So keep that in mind. God is in control. But what we have to do as Christians is understand that we want to be part of the process, part that's engaging in healthy eating habits and lifestyle as far as exercising every day. Just I have to add that to this conversation. So with all that being said, let me give you some practical advice on my way out because I only have 4 minutes left. I didn't realize I was talking so long. As far as diet, okay, what I do personally is I eat small, frequent meals throughout the day. A lot of people will skip breakfast. And if you skip breakfast or you skip lunch or you skip meals, you go long periods without eating. Now I'm gonna have to go back to God because God is real. And what he does is he's designed our bodies to stay alive, okay, even when we're not even aware. So let's say you eat dinner at 7 o'clock at night with your family. And then the next morning rolls around at 7 a.m. and you don't eat breakfast, that's 12 hours. And then you eat lunch at noon, that's another 5. So that's 17 hours with no food. So what God does is he makes it so we store more fat. We store more fat because we're going to go a long period without eating. And God doesn't want us to die. So we keep more fat in our stomach, which can lead to metabolic disease, such as hypertension, diabetes. But it's so that we can stay alive in those long periods without eating. But what God also does is he slows our metabolism down. He makes it so we don't burn calories so fast because he's trying to help us stay alive. So the best way to remedy that is in the morning, eat something. If you don't have time, like sometimes my wife and I will just drink a protein shake or maybe just eat a couple of boiled eggs, just put something on our stomach so that metabolism can get going. All right. Then about maybe 3 hours later, we'll have like a protein shake or maybe a cereal bar, just putting something in our system, keep it going. And then for lunch, when you eat lunch, there's a higher probability you won't overeat for lunch because you're not starving. If you haven't eaten since 7 o'clock the night before, you're probably going to eat something bad. You're going to be like, McDonald's. All right. The second thing about diet is try to eat more plant-based than starches and meat, especially red meat. So my wife and I, what we do is we mostly eat like seafood, and then we might have some grilled chicken breasts. And we don't eat a lot of rice and potatoes. We eat more vegetables, and we've been doing a lot of salads lately, but we'll switch it up. But we generally just stick to a healthier dietary selections. And honestly, when you ask somebody, is it healthy or not, when you're making that decision what you're going to eat, you already know, Big Mac, 6-inch Subway sandwich. Big Mac. Is that the healthiest? No, Dr. Quinn. All right, there you go. So you already know the answer. And as far as exercise, like I mentioned, I ran 6 miles yesterday and worked out 2 hours a day. Don't do that. You don't have to be Forrest Gump like me, but just engage in some type of physical exercise. I advise maybe walking 30 minutes every other day, but it's optimal if you can do 30 minutes a day, or maybe 1 hour every other day, but start out maybe just 30 minutes every other day. And when you walk, you want to put a little bit of intensity to it, where if you're walking and you're on the phone, you can't really talk well because you're a little bit winded, all right, that's the way to do it. But if you're just walking and just talking like, yeah, girl, I know what you mean. Now that's probably not enough intensity. So you want to kind of swing those arms, and if you're able to run. But if you can't, then don't push yourself and listen to your body. If you start getting too winded or feel funny, stop. And if you're somebody that, has not exercised before, maybe talk to your doctor before you get started, just to make sure it's safe for you and your medical condition. So I think that pretty much concludes 30 minutes. We have 10, 9 seconds, but I hope that the information that I've provided today has been helpful to you and encouraging to you. And also remembering that God is ultimately in charge. And now we open it up to questions and answers.
I have a question.
Okay.
My name is Glennis Ramey. What's your take on your emotional health effects on your physical health, unresolved emotional health, manifesting in your physical health? What's your take on that?
You know what? That is a good question, an excellent question, because at the end of the day, emotional health directly impacts your physical health. The first point to that is there's a hormone called adrenaline, okay, in your body. And there's some other hormones too, but we'll just call them stress hormones overall. If you're somebody that's in a very stressful environment, maybe it's your job, maybe you're going through a bad relationship with your spouse, maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe your kids are acting up like a lot of my patients' children are acting up. Whatever it is, if you're under a lot of stress, your stress hormones are going to be elevated. Because God, and I keep saying God is real. Because it goes back to our primitive days when we were cavemen, okay? Before we had all the civilization. If some dinosaurs or some killer, prehistoric animals were after you, those stress hormones would go up. And that's God's way of getting you ready. Fight or flight, you gotta go. So your heart is beating fast, that blood is going to those muscles, so you can fight, fight. You can run, go to those legs, you can get away for safety. But unfortunately, if you're stressed, more than not, your heart is going fast, there's nowhere to run. You're not running anywhere, but it's working your heart. It's causing your heart to have a lot of unnecessary extra work. That blood pressure is up, but that's putting a lot of pressure on your kidneys, your blood vessels in your brain. It could actually result in it could result in a stroke or heart attack or just damage to parts of your body, to include your kidneys. So emotional health is so important. Now, for me personally, exercise is my outlet. When I get off work, I exercise and it just calms me down. It calms me down. But I want to add one more important statement to that. Invest in your relationships and don't be irresponsible with your money, because relationships and money are the two most stressful things that we incur, or as far as my patient population of 20 years. Tonight at 7 o'clock, your boy is going on a date. That's right. Every weekend, I take my wife somewhere. Tonight, we're going to go see the Michael Jordan movie. Yeah. That's right, Air. Look, I hear it in the background. Invest in your relationship. And if you are in a relationship that's salvageable, if you invest in it, it'll do better. Last weekend, I took her to New Orleans. We had a great time. Invest in your relationship, and that will decrease your stress. Spend a little time with your baby. Don't be irresponsible with your money. If you know you can't afford a 2022 Porsche Carrera Turbo, like I had to realize I can't afford it right now. Don't go buy the 2022 Porsche Carrera convertible turbo that costs more than you can afford. Even if the Porsche dealer came to my job last week, driving the car, saying, Dr. Quinn, you need this car. Don't buy that car because you will be stressed trying to pay the note. So if you can implement investing in your relationships with your children, with your wife, your husband, doing well on your job, and don't be irresponsible with your money and engage in purchases you can't afford, that'll help with your emotional health and it'll overall help with your physical health. But I just want to end with one last thing. If you're in a situation that's just, you've done everything you can, maybe you worked hard as you can on that job and they just don't respect you, then, maybe look for another job, because you got to take care of your emotional health.
Dr. Quinn, this is Carolyn, and I'm slow to point a finger at others because they might be doing something right and I might be doing something else right. So you talked about lack of exercise. You talked about eating properly. What are some other things? And I put forth my best effort to do that. Thank you to you and the program that I participate, your program that I participate in. So I normally get out and walk 5 days a week for an hour. And I control my portions. I eat on a saucer. I try not to eat bread. Every now and then I will. Try to stay away from fried food. But what are some other things that are unhealthy that some of us might be doing that could contribute to an unhealthy lifestyle?
Right. I want to echo you on something. And can I just tell a little bit about your history?
Yes, sir. That's fine. I'm open. I'm transparent.
The bottom line is Miss Upkins has been my play mama. My mother used to be her secretary for many years. Oh, we know she looks great. We see her right here. But she's been a blessing to me and my family for probably 40 years, because my mom was her secretary and she actually approved me for a car I probably wasn't supposed to get. I was being irresponsible when I was getting ready to go to my residency in Los Angeles. She approved me for a convertible BMW. I didn't need that car. But the deal is, Miss Upkins has engaged in a lot of healthy lifestyle decisions, and I've seen her firsthand as a doctor, get to a really healthy weight. But more importantly, as she's continued to go through years of aging, as I have as well, she's been able to avoid a lot of medical problems that she was predisposition to obtain. She beat diabetes, she kicked it in the tail. But at the end of the day, you win. But I want to echo something you said that's very, very important. Programs. And programs like going to church. Okay. My grandfather was a pastor, and he and we had a lot of conversations. When you go to church, your overall goal is to get closer to God, to worship God. So why don't you just do it at home? Go to church for what? What are you going to church for? The reason we go to church is because we understand that when we're in the presence of other humans engaging in a certain activity, we have a better probability of success. That's right. So if you go to church and maybe you want to backslide a little bit, like, man, then you got Sister Daria, girl, I feel something in your spirit. Let's talk. And she'll encourage you. You can get through this. We gotta lean on God. It's that positive reinforcement. It's the same reason I used to go to the library when I was in med school. I used to study in my apartment. I'm like, why I want to go to the library for what? You're at home in your apartment, you're studying, and you look at the TV, you study. You look at the TV look at you. Hey, turn the TV on. Or maybe you'll get in your car and go somewhere. But if you're in that library and you're studying and you're like, you look at your keys, you look over there and see those kids studying. You see that? Man, you study. Where I'm going with it is, if you are someone that's having a difficult time sticking to a positive physical lifestyle change or even a dietary change, try to be around some people that are doing it. Join a gym. I noted that I have a gym in my house right back there through that door, a full gym. I bought it during the pandemic. Couldn't afford it, but I bought it. Irresponsible. But the deal is, I still go. I went to the gym 2 hours today. When I got there, I saw this guy who was like, "What up, Quinn?" I was like, "What's up, baby?" He was like, man, we about to hit these weights, man. You down? I'm like, yeah. You know, and I put the weight on and I started going. He said, man, is that how you gonna put on? Man, put some more on there then. He put more and it was more. And I worked out. When I got home, I was like, baby, I'm so sore. I was working out them young dudes. But I did more. Where I'm going with it is try to engage in activities with people that are engaged in the same activity. There's a better chance you'll do more. And then there's a better chance you'll be more compliant, which leads me to the first Saturday in June, North Park Mall, 9 o'clock. Everybody's welcome, no charge. Queen Healthcare is has already paid the bill. So, you know, just try to get involved with groups and then you'll be more likely to be successful. One thing that I did not add that I just want to add really quickly is in addition to positive lifestyle changes with diet and exercise, we also want to try not to smoke, okay? We work with the Mississippi State Department of Health and there's an initiative for smokers. And right now, smoking and being overweight, they go pretty much hand in hand now as far as being destructive. I'm actually going to do a story this week on WJTV 12 at noon for my weekly segment. This week, I'm going to be talking about lung cancer. And smoking is the #1 contributing factor to lung cancer. But in addition to that, lung cancer is the most deadly form of cancer. So, you know, in addition to diet and exercise, we can't leave out smoking. So let's try to not smoke and talk to your doctor. There's a lot of medication out there that can be very helpful.
Thank you.
Dr. Quinn, you might have touched on this, emotional eating. Most weight gain, does it come from emotional eating?
Most definitely. Emotional eating is real. Now, what you have to do with emotional eating is you have to try to put yourself in a position to win. What do I mean by that? My first marriage did not work out, but my fatherhood, being a father to my daughter, worked out. Now, let me tell you what I used to do. I used to pick my daughter up every Friday and keep her the weekend. And when I picked her up, she was young. When her mom and I divorced, she might have been in like the third or fourth grade. So when I pick her up, I take her to Kroger, okay, and let her get whatever she wants. Because I'm not going to tell a fourth grader, you know, you can't have toaster strudels, because that was her big thing, and a little ice cream every now and then. So on Sunday, when I took her home, I would load all her stuff up and take it back home with her. And you might be like, why? Because I remember one Sunday we had to stop at a park for an outside birthday party. And she said, Dad, why are you putting the ice cream? She's going to melt. I said, we'll just throw it away. And she said, well, why are you going to throw it away? I'll be back Friday. I said, because, Zappy, on Sunday night, when I go to bed, I'm going to hear this ice cream calling me, come get me. I got to get that stuff out of the house. So where I'm going with it is, if you're somebody that knows that you are an emotional eater, it's not a bad idea to try your best, if you don't have little children in the house, to get that stuff out of your house. So if they bring you a cake, tell them, all right, thank you so much. And then just, you know, maybe take half of it and throw it in the garbage. Take it. I take it to work, because I work with all young people. It ain't gonna hurt them, my wife. I take all the bad food to work now that my daughter is going off to college. But try to get the bad food out your house. And I want to add one more thing. I am now board certified in weight loss medicine. There are some medicines out there now that are, they are amazing as far as decreasing your appetite, stopping emotional eating like 90%. Talk to your doctor about weight loss medication. There's a new class, they're injections. You get a shot once a week. They started out as a treatment for diabetes, but now they're FDA approved for weight loss, and they're out there. We have so many patients taking it. We're overwhelmed with patients. We just hired a whole new provider recently to help out with weight loss, but talk to your doctor about weight loss medication.
Okay.
Thank you.
Quinn, that was a question. I'm looking in the box, and that was the first question that was in there. So thank you for addressing that. I think she asked about Ozempic and Mounjaro. Those were the two.
It worked. But also Wegovy. That's WEGOVY, Wegovy. Now, let me just tell you real quick. Most insurances don't pay for Wegovy, and in the pharmacy is $1,400. But there are some clinics, like our clinic, where the doctor is a hard worker. I told like Denzel Washington on American Gangster, I found the supplier. It's in Florida. What we do for our patients is we order what's called compounded generic version, and it's mailed to their house for only $100 a month. So if insurance is not covering your Wegovy, and the only insurances that are covering it right now for weight loss, if you don't have diabetes, you won't be able to get the Ozempic and Mounjaro and all that, because that medicine is like $1,400 a month. But if your insurance doesn't cover it, talk to your doctor about the compounded generic alternative. We give it to our patients for $100 a month. I think they charge us like $75. We just give it to them for $100. And honestly, if your doctor can't get it for you, call us. We have it. We're providing it for our patients, and so many people are losing so much weight, and the side effect profile is only just very minimal, just a little nausea, stomach pain. But what you can do is, if you have those problems, just decrease the dose. But that medicine is amazing.
Doctor, another question I have. With the exercise, there are a lot of people where they are not at the point where they can exercise, they start walking.
Yeah.
What are some things that they can do in the home? There are some things that they can do until they get to that point.
Right.
And name some of the things like standing and moving and vacuuming, and you can use cans to address that, please. What are some things they can do when they're not at the point where they can get up?
No, I got you. Now here's the deal. My wife is younger than me. She's a millennial, and she is on YouTube. Anything that she wants to do, she can do it. But where I'm going with it is, you can have your grandchild or your younger person in the home. If you can't do it, I'm not saying you can't, because my mama, she can do everything, and she's 74. Go on YouTube and look for exercises for people that are unable to do walking. And there are all kind of exercises on YouTube that you can follow. Like, you can set your phone up in front of you, and it's like something called chair exercises, different arm exercises. But the bottom line is, YouTube on your phone, the YouTube app, it has all those types of exercise. Just do the search, but get if you don't know how to do it, get a young person to do it. And I'm telling you, there's so many exercises you can participate in. And then I also want to add that most people that are 65 and up have Medicare. Medicare will pay for a gym membership to a lot of gyms. And I want to say the YMCA in Flowood has water aerobics. I want to say, I'm pretty sure they do. I know they do. Water aerobic, that's a good alternative as well, because water aerobics, it takes all the pressure off the joints, and you're usually on a flotation device. So you're kind of moving in the water, but that's also a good exercise for somebody that's limited in their mobility.
That's good. I exercise the 3 to 4. I do the water exercise at the Clinton Hairplex, and also a portion of the stuff. This question I asked my general question. Then another question is the 80-20 rule. So weight loss really 80% of what you eat and 20% weight, or is it vice versa? Have you heard of the 80-20 rule?
You're exactly right. Because a lot of my patients, they'll exercise more than me, but then they go to Popeyes every day. They're like, Dr. Flynn, I don't understand. Or the funniest, well, I shouldn't say the funniest. I shouldn't be saying that. But I always make fun of my family, because they'll eat all, like they'll go to Thanksgiving, and sometimes because I'll cheat a little bit too, but we'll eat really bad, and then we'll think that we could just go for a walk around the block, and then we're forgiven. It don't work like now. God, he'll forgive us, but the calories won't. So you are exactly correct. What you eat is going to have a 80% versus a 20% impact on your overall physical weight. So if you eat bad and you exercise, there's a much less chance you'll win. So your diet is the most important. But also remember, the exercise has more than just helping you lose weight. Like I said, it
Mhm.
is your stress. It keeps
Mhm.
your mobility good, so you're less likely to have, joint problems in the future. But also, if you do weight resistance exercise, it can keep the thickness of your bones, so you won't get osteoporosis as you get older, and you have less likely of having a fracture.
Thank you, Dr. Quinn. And then during the pandemic,
Excuse
go
me,
on.
just a moment. Let me interject just a moment. I wanted to let the ladies know, I have some ladies, if you have a question and you don't want to ask it out loud, please put it in the chat box as well, and I'll bring it to Dr. Quinn's attention. So if you have a question that has not been answered already, and you don't want to speak out loud, which is fine either way, but just put it in the chat box so we'll know. And if you're somebody who doesn't know how to put it in the chat box, then unmute yourself or and let us know, and we'll make sure that your question is answered. Thank you.
That's good, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Quinn,
And
this is Carolyn again. Are you still accepting participants in your weight loss program that you have every Tuesday night?
Yes, and if you are interested, we have a weight loss program every Tuesday night through Zoom, a platform like this. We have a health coach, and Ms. Upkins has that information. And if you contact her, she can get you the information so that you could be added to our Zoom link. And Ms. Upkins, what you could do is you could just text me that person's name, phone
Okay.
number, email, and I'll send it to our coordinator. And you can do it. It's a program for pre-diabetes, but now we just do it for anyone that's interested. And we just basically every Tuesday night, we have a different class. I want to say tomorrow night, we're going to cook a healthy meal, but it's just fun. But at the end of the day, it's like what I was speaking about earlier. It's like just being engaged with people with missions that are the same as yours. You come to the Tuesday night class. Like I used to go to a study group when I was in med school. You go to the library, you go to the gym, you're around people. It just helps if you get that positive reinforcement. But also, Ms. Upkins can confirm that there's a lot of practical information that's very helpful as you make your transition to a healthier lifestyle.
I have a quick question again. What's your take on, or have you seen a rise in anxiety disorders with the young since the pandemic? And I've worked with a group of young people, and then I've noticed it with relatives, young relatives, nieces, great nieces, and it seems that that's the trend in diagnosis now is anxiety disorder. And I was wondering, what was your take on that? Because it just seemed more prevalent after COVID.
Yeah, there's just a lot of anxiety right now. I have a lot of patients that are having to take off work, doing a lot of FMLA paperwork as far as helping patients, referring them to therapists. But the main thing that I advise is that you and myself continue to just encourage people to not be afraid. Don't feel like, it's something bad that they're doing, but just be willing to get that help. Because you can see all through the country, we have these mass shootings. A man went into a bank and shot everybody. Not everybody, but he shot people and killed some people. But the take home is we just have to encourage our fellow man to get help. And also, especially in our African-American community, because we, and I say we as African-Americans, we're very resistant to getting that help we really need. So that's something I'm glad that was brought up during this talk. So important.
I have a question here. Someone asked about weight loss and bariatric surgery, and if you could just address those, what they are, the benefits and risks, and also the other question, menopause and the effect on weight as well.
Oh yeah. Well, weight loss surgery right now, there's a procedure called a gastric sleeve, SLEEVE, like a sleeve on a shirt. It's the safest. It's just as safe as getting your gallbladder taken out. Basically, with this type of procedure, they go in, they don't even cut you open. All they do is they do it what's called laparoscopically, where they just make some little incisions and they insert the instruments through the incisions, and they do it robotically, where they're looking at it through a camera. And they just basically take your stomach and they staple off a big portion of it. So your stomach is very, very small. So when you eat, you get full very quickly, and you have no desire to eat, but very little. It's very effective. But I just want to add that the new weight loss medicine, the injections, I mean, they're not as effective as the surgery, but they're knocking on the door really, really hard, because the way they work is they make it so when you eat, the food doesn't just pass through, but it sort of stays, and you get full so quickly, you don't want to eat anymore. Like, say, for instance, if you normally eat a 12-inch Subway sandwich, you probably eat 3 inches, you're full and you don't want no more. But then at night, you're not really hungry for dinner. And some people might think, if I skip, if I don't eat, I'm gonna starve. But what happens is your body, if you're somebody that's living with obesity and you're overweight, your body lives off the fat. And what happens, and what I've seen personally, is people, they just get smaller. I've seen people lose just crazy weight, but more importantly, a lot of my patients that were on diabetes medication, blood pressure medicine, they're decreasing those medicines, just like my patient. Now, my patient, she did have a high level of motivation because she was trying to get that guy, but I'm glad she didn't get that guy because he was a terrible guy. But still, it's hard for people. Like, we talked about emotional eating, we talked about stress, we talked about the fact that it's just hard to make that transition. But these medicines, what they do is they just make it so that people get the success. I haven't seen anybody not get success on this medicine yet, and I've been doing it for the last year. And I just want to note on the medicine, I sound like a salesperson for the medicine, but I believe in it because it's helping my patients. Our clinic participated in the research because we did clinical trials using the medication, and we looked at the safety profile, just really looked at it, because we were one of the clinics that did the research along with the other clinics around the world. And I'm telling you, the medicine is safe. It works.
Awesome.
Well, listen, I do have to hire my wife tonight because she's looking at me now. So I have to go and take a shower. But listen, I really, really appreciate this opportunity. And I pray that God will put it on your hearts to come out to our walking program the first Saturday in June of every month. There's no charge at 9 a.m. We just want you to come out and enjoy yourself. We have some other facilities that are gonna participate, where they're gonna have trainers out there to get you exercising and moving. And it's just our way of letting God use us to give back to the community, because if we can help one person get healthier, we've done His will. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Dr. Quinn,
Yes, sir.
before you sign off, this is Pastor Pittman. I know this is a ladies class workshop,
Yes, sir.
but we've met. I'd like to ask the question, how many men do you have a part of your weight loss program? Do you have men?
I do have some men, but we have more women. But men are joining, because at the end of the day, in addition to, one of the reasons we're getting more men is we're really helping our patients understand that the weight loss is not all about looking a certain way. Because men,
Okay.
we're good. But
Okay.
what we've done is we've helped people understand that losing weight, if you're somebody that's living with obesity or living with being overweight, helps you become healthier. And I hope that this is something that I've really driven home today, because, I've had a lot of people tell me, like I had a lady just 3 or 4 days ago. She said, Dr. Quinn, I heard that you're going to say I need to lose weight. But she said, I'm going to tell you something, baby. I'm big and my man like me big. And I said, I like you too. You're a beautiful lady. But I said, ma'am, I am going to ask you to consider, coming to a healthier way, just like you as a pastor, sir. I know you tell everybody, I want you to consider coming closer to God, because that's what God uses us for. We're nothing but tools. But I
Yes.
explained it to her as I do my men. If we can get to a healthier weight, then there's more of a chance that you will be around for your husband into your 60s, your 70s, your 80s. And not only will you be around, but you'll have a higher quality of life. We talked about people that are not mobile. They're unable to exercise. I just left the gym and there's a guy, this guy is 67 years old and he makes me look like terrible. This guy is ripped. He's a bodybuilder, but he exercises. I saw him on the treadmill. He was actually running a little bit, but that's the way I want. I want that high quality of life. And I know God wants that for us. And if we engage a healthier lifestyle, there's a higher probability that we will get the blessing, so that when we're 70 years old, we can still go out walking. We can spend time with our grandkids, drive. We haven't had a stroke or anything. And as I talk to my men about that, more and more men are saying, okay, I think I will be part of your exercise program, because I do want that high quality of life.
Thank you, Dr. Quinn.
Dr.
Yes.
Quinn, we know you have to go. God bless you. Thank you so much. And I know you got a date at 7 o'clock.
Got that hot date, baby. Woo!
It's good.
Hey,
God
thank you
bless
for
you.
having me. Y'all have a blessed night.
You too. We're gonna finish up. Look
Yes.
forward to seeing and hear from you again soon, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye.